Hey, folks, good morning and welcome to another episode of Steelers Morning Rush. I'm Alan Saunders. It is Friday, March 14th. The Pittsburgh Steelers still do not have a starting quarterback. They do have a backup in Mason Rudolph, and a third stringer in Skylar Thompson, and most of everything else they needed. Still looking for a defensive tackle and maybe another wide receiver, although it doesn't sound like they're getting Cooper Kupp. Today I'm going to answer a question. I forgot to write down who asked it, but actually several people did over the last week. How do you figure out what a team is getting in comp picks? And that is an extremely difficult question that honestly even the NFL gets wrong sometimes, but I'm going to do my best to explain it. Okay, let's go. So the basic idea of a compensatory draft pick is to reward teams that lose players in free agency with draft picks. And you only get compensatory draft picks if you lose more free agents than you sign. So if a team loses 3 free agents but signs 3 free agents, they don't get a comp pick. The only way you get comp picks is if you lose more than you sign. But not everybody counts. So this is going to be the first whiteboard, non-X's and O's whiteboard session in Steelers Morning Rush history, but we need it for this. Okay, UFAs only. Remember this, okay? So trades don't count. Restricted free agent signings don't count. Your own players don't count. And very importantly, street free agents don't count. So a UFA, an unrestricted free agent, is a very specific, people use it generally. It's a very specific term. You are only an unrestricted free agent if you have 4 more years of NFL service and your contract has expired, meaning your old team kept you on their roster until 4 p.m. on Wednesday. Okay. Those players are unrestricted free agents. Players that were released by their team before that, or players whose contracts voided, because that's a loophole there that they've closed. So if a player was released by a team like the Steelers cut Larry Ogunjobi, he will not count towards the compensatory draft pick formula for the Buffalo Bills. The Eagles cut Darius Slay. He will not count towards the compensatory draft pick formula for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers traded for DK Metcalf. Even if the Steelers traded nothing, remember there was some talk going around, Deebo Samuel, right? He was going to get cut. Then he got traded. Even if he traded for nothing, just so that team gets his rights so they can re-sign him, that player doesn't count as a compensatory draft pick. So the way it works is there's a formula that is a combination of money and playing time, okay? And everything you're seeing right now is a projection based on this that could change based on this. So you take the money and the playing time, and then you rank the entire NFL, everybody, and then there's slots where these guys fall into. And the top group, they get 3rd round comp picks. The second group gets 4th round comp picks. The next group is 5th round comp picks. The next group is 6th round comp picks. The next group is 7th round comp picks. There can only be 32. And there will always be 32. If there are not 32 that are deserved through this formula, they will just give extra picks to starting with the team that draft number 1 overall and so on and so forth. So what do the Steelers have right now in terms of comp picks, and how do we figure out what they're going to get? That's the big question here. Overthecap.com is the only website that does any amount of work that is worth repeating about this process, okay? And they are not perfect. The NFL is not perfect. They screw it up. I don't know, about every other year they have to go back and, we made a mistake, let's fix it, okay? So right now the Steelers have, you got to build yourself a little ledger here, okay? Because every signing is going to cancel out a loss. So the Steelers lost Dan Moore to a huge contract that is right now worth a 3rd round comp pick. Okay. They lost Justin Fields. That's worth a 4th. And right now they've lost Najee Harris, Donte Jackson. My handwriting is why we don't do this more often. James Daniels and Mike Williams. And all those are worth 6ths. Now, Najee Harris is especially, because he has a lot of incentives in his contract. he could go up. Like this isn't static. This will change if he outperforms the expectations of this formula as it sits right now. And the Steelers have signed 2 countable free agents, Mason Rudolph and Malik Harrison. So Rudolph and Harrison cancel out 2 of these sixths. And right now, the Steelers are going to get a third, a fourth, and 2 sixths. Landon Roberts is like just on the edge here of being a 7th rounder. If he goes up, he could get playing time his way up in, especially because I expect him to be the green dot for the Raiders. So go over to thecap.com. It looks better than my chicken scratch, but it will explain to you what's. So if the Steelers sign Aaron Rodgers, no effect here. He was cut by the Jets. If the Steelers sign Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson signs with the Giants, going to get another slot. Now, you can only get 4. You can only earn 4 picks. But say Russell Wilson comes in for a 5th or 4th. Then the next time the Steelers sign someone, even to a small contract, it will only cancel out a 6th. Now, if the Steelers sign someone to a big contract who hasn't been cut, there's barely any of those guys left, but Asante Samuel. Let's say the Steelers come in, Asante Samuel, 3 years, $30 million, big contract, right? That would cancel out probably the Justin Fields pick, okay? But if they sign Cooper Kupp, cut by the Rams, nothing. If they sign guys after a certain point in the calendar, I believe it's the end of April, they no longer count also. Some of you will remember when the Ravens signed Alejandro Villanueva from the Steelers. They agreed to the deal and then waited 3 days to make it official so that he did not count against the comp pick formula. So the guy like Calais Campbell, who has the last couple of years like kind of waited and decided whether he was going to play in the summertime or not, if you get to July and you decide you want to sign him, it doesn't count. So the Steelers are in line for a big haul in terms of comp picks that could be even more than what they look like they have right now. And that's a huge deal with them probably looking to move up in the 26th draft to go find a quarterback. They will have a ton of extra draft capital to do so. I hope I answered that question. If you have more questions about comp picks, the salary cap, things of that nature, this podcast is a good vehicle for those things. So leave questions, leave comments. I will try to get to them. We got a long off season. We got lots to talk about. And I didn't have this podcast last off season, so we're in new ground here. I don't know if we're going to have something to talk about every day all summer. So keep the topics coming. And if I don't get to it, bring it back up. I'll get to it eventually. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. That's all I have for today. Like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications on the YouTube channel so you don't miss a thing. We've got all these interviews from the free agents yesterday that'll be percolating through the YouTube channel throughout today and the rest of the weekend because the NFL only lets us put up 90 seconds a day, so we got to stretch them out, but that's okay. You get to see all the different pieces of those interactions, and then me, Smitty, and I believe DB on Afternoon Drive at 6 on this lovely Friday in Pittsburgh. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, enjoy.